Manchester United are subject to 5 official bids that have been placed and made for the full purchase of Manchester United. There have been a number of rumors, there have been a number of speculations that the club may only get minority investment. But all of the bidders have submitted their initial offers. They all want to take over full majority control of the football club. And this is something United fans have been begging for, waiting for, and pleading for the best part of 2 decades. It's scary times for rivals with the look of some of these owners from the Middle East. There are big interest from 2 American consortiums, and of course, Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He, though, wants the club to be bought on debt. And we're going to delve into that in more details. But this is massive, massive news for Manchester United. Let's go. Qatari interest in Manchester United is to own the club outright. They have zero interest in a minority share and are willing to meet the valuation and clear all club debts. That is what sources close to the situation are informing us today. The Qatari bidders, who just from the outset have nothing to do with PSG's owners, it is a different group of a different group of individuals from Qatar, a different investment group, a different uh, concoction of people, different human beings, different names before anybody says, well, they can't own 2 football clubs that could potentially be in the same competition. That isn't on the cards, a completely separate group. But they are very, very, very interested. The reports suggest they are willing to go as high as £6 billion that the Glazers are asking for. There is a connection. One of the senior leaders of this Qatari group is a Manchester United fan and wants to bring the club out of the doldrums, wants to get the club back up to competing for these major trophies on a regular basis. But at the same time, also wants to invest in a team in the biggest league in the world. Let us not get this twisted. You can question how PSG are run. You can question how things in France are done, but it doesn't compare to owning a Premier League team. This is gargantuan for them as a nation. It is gargantuan for them as individual people. The eyes and the presence that will suddenly appear upon Qatar will be every bit as big as the World Cup because the Premier League is huge. What this couples in with is a report that's come out here that states that there are 5 potential new owners of Manchester United. Of course, we know this bid that could be coming in from Qatar. There is a Saudi Arabian group who are very, very interested in purchasing Manchester United. They will be they'll be doing everything they can, everything that they can do to push things forward and try and get themselves through that door as well. On top of that, you've got 2 bids from America. Now, the American bids, it's been very, very quiet. What's going on with the American side of things is interesting because we have no idea who these groups are per se. Could they be connected to the Amazons and the Apples who were originally connected to Man United? Or could they be completely new groups? The jury's out. Those big organizations did not want to go public with their interest. You've seen what's happened with Qatar, with Sir Jim Ratcliffe going public. The share price has skyrocketed. The asking price is likely to now be met because you're growing the valuation of the club simply by demonstrating your interest. And of course, there is the bid from Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who is now being backed by Goldman Sachs. That has created controversy in itself. As you can see here, Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan Chase are prepared to back Sir Jim Ratcliffe's offer with bonds and loans beyond the value of Manchester United's existing debt of 659 million. The original claim from the Telegraph states that Sir Jim Ratcliffe will fight it out with private Qatari investors and US consortia for Man United, having secured 2 of Wall Street's biggest lenders to bankroll his deal. And of course, this has caused controversy. We don't want more debt. No more debt on Manchester United. I agree. I want no more debt connected to Man United. I want that too. However, we need to be very mindful here. If you read the article in its entirety, the debt will go against Sir Jim Ratcliffe's business. His business turns over 64 billion pounds per year. So Jim is promising that none of the debt that will be used to purchase Manchester United will at any point be absorbed, paid for, or serviced by Manchester United. No money will be taken out of the club to pay for the purchase. Man United's money will be used to reinvest in the squad, the infrastructure, and the club as a whole, the women's team, the men's team, the academy, the training facilities, the stadia. That is what Man United's money will be used for, not for external means. But I do understand fans asking questions as per this one here that says we would be shipping off one owner who put us in millions of pounds of worth of debt for another one because they just can't afford this club. I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe needs to respectfully step aside for those with suitable pockets to buy this mega club. This isn't about Ratcliffe not having the money. This is about Middle East ownership is different because they are so rich, it's ridiculous. They have so much cash, it's unbelievable. They could bankroll this with their own money. But in the West, with the money that the billionaires in America and the UK have, they'll have the cash to pay 6 billion, but they would never use their own money if they can get a loan. You'll find that Sir Jim and most likely his organization and his company are buying Manchester United. It is probably cheaper for them to leverage that with debt against themselves than it is to spend their own cash. You'll probably find their billions of pounds is tied up in bonds, in global betas and investment funds, hedge funds, where if they remove that money, they're probably going to lose more than they would make. So it isn't a big deal for me, but I would prefer the Middle East owners. I would, from a financial standpoint only, I would prefer what would you call this in a house purchase? I prefer a cash buyer to a mortgage buyer. However, it isn't as big a deal as I think people are making out. But what does this all mean for Manchester United? And I think the biggest thing here is the club is being sold. Barring a dramatic 90th minute 11th hour turnaround and U-turn from the Glazers, they are leaving. They're leaving for me. There's a bitterness to them leaving for me because they're walking away with probably 5 to 6 billion pounds in their back pocket. They're walking away with everything they wanted. They're walking away with everything I knew they would get because fans enabled the valuation of the club to continue to grow. I understand why fans did it. They want to support the boys on the pitch. They want to support the women on the pitch. They want to buy the club. They want to be proud. They want to do everything they can to help. But they're walking away with loads of money, and it's bittersweet for me. It's sweet because they're leaving. It's bitter because they've essentially won. The Glazers won the fight. I think a lot of United fans will have this notion of we got them out, the protest won, the hashtags won. You didn't win. The Glazers got exactly what they wanted. There is a silver lining to that, though. They are gone, and fingers crossed the new owners will do a better job, run the club better, and get us back to where we want to be. And that isn't all financial based. That isn't all just financial based. United spend a lot of money already. But to spend their own money wisely, to ensure that billions are not being stripped out the club on interest payments and dividends, and of course, the infrastructure is invested in. The infrastructure being invested in is a key component with clubs growing and developing. Newcastle are a prime example. Before the Saudi investment in Newcastle, they didn't even have ice baths at their training ground. They used to put their players into paddling pools. Now, could you imagine being a player? You may be signed from a very good French club, a good Italian club, a good Spanish club, or another good English team. You move to Newcastle and they give you the spiel of how they want to, eventually get back into European football, how they want to grow, how serious a club they are. And then you turn up to training, you work hard. They say, right, you're going to have an ice bath in a 10-year-old's £12.99 paddling pool from Argos. The message that sends is you're not serious. At Manchester United, when the roof is leaking, when the stadium is rusting, when the training facility has not been upgraded in a decade and a half, when the swimming pools have been damaged and broken, the jacuzzi hasn't been updated, the training facilities and equipment is poor, it has an impact. How serious is this club? How serious is it? When you go to a gym and you go to sign up and you're paying a premium, it's 80, £90 a month, and you walk in and the gym equipment is about 20 years old. The swimming pool and the sauna areas are old and you're not going to pay your money. You're better off spending £20 a month going to Pure Gym, which is decent, but for £20 a month, you don't really care what it looks like. When you get sold the premium dream, everything's got to be premium. Everything's got to look top notch. And that's what these new owners have got to bring in. People have got to walk in and see that there's a great attitude and behavior from the players. Money is being spent on improving the team, but internally, the club is clean, it is polished. It strives to be the best every day because that's when the message is sent out into that dressing room that things are serious. When the dressing room doesn't believe that the club is serious about winning, it will not win. It's called the middle out effect. How and why things are done are more important than what. And you can sell people on a what, on a what, on a what, on a what. But when they see how you actually behave and they understand and they learn your true motivation, the real why as to the reason for purchasing them or what you're trying to derive out the club, which in the Glazers instance was making as much money as possible, you never long-term yield sporting success. It's impossible. So this is massive news for Manchester United. The club will be sold, barring a crazy, unexpected, dramatic U-turn. It will be sold. Qatar are believed to be the front runners as it stands right now because they have the cash, they're willing to pay the asking price, and they are doing the majority of the work behind the scenes to ensure that they're seen as the best people to take over from. Don't sleep on the American bidders, and their connections to the Glazers probably run deep. They probably know them all personally. I wouldn't 100% discount the gym. But who do you want? Who do you want and who do you think is going to be the new owners of Manchester United? And from a rival standpoint, said it before and I said it again. Genuinely, how worried, scared, concerned are you of Man United's new owners? Or maybe not at all. Maybe you think it will just be business as usual. United will overspend, they won't really improve. The new owners could take them further backwards. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on that, people. Make sure you're hitting like buttons. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. See you soon.